They're thrill-seeking, danger-loving, death-defying, adrenaline junkies. And they've captured all the action on camera. Head camera, boat camera, even ski camera.
We just skied this! Oh my God!
And we've gathered together the best homemade heroism and spur-of-the-moment insanity from across the globe to take you on a white-knuckle ride through the Daredevil Top 10. They're an elite group.
In life, there's two kinds of people. There's people that have an instinct of survival and people that don't.
With amazing skills.
You're not really even thinking anymore. You're just sort of moving with your instincts.
And no self-doubt.
For me, death is not an option. I'm doing it because it makes me feel alive.
Mad men and women, some might call them. We'll just call them Daredevils. This is world's greatest Daredevils. And we've got the footage to prove it. For our first clip, we're going where only a few can venture. Vertical walls, treacherous ice. Luckily, he's wearing a camera. Extreme freeride snowboarder Xavier Delarue takes off-piste snowboarding to the edge. Throwing himself down near vertical slopes and filming all the action.
There's something pretty hard to describe when you're at the top of a mountain in winter. You know, it's white, it's pure, it's huge, it's magic. It's, I don't know, it's greater than anything else. It's hard to describe. In a different world, in a different dimension. It's probably the place where I feel most alive, I think. Nevertheless, when I'm at the top, it's usually there is below me a really steep run. So it means that I kind of have some pressure in my head because I know that soon I'm going to be dropping in there, and there's something special about being up there. Feeling so small and at the same time so strong and so big. It's weird. I have the feeling that fear smells like something. I have the feeling that when I get scared, I have this kind of taste in my mouth and this smell in my nose.
Xavier may feel fear, but he certainly doesn't show it, taking on terrifying gradients at any obstacle, even ice and bare rock.
Isn't it funny that I just came snowboarding here? Look, what am I doing?
Xavier pushes himself into previously inaccessible locations to take on almost impossible runs. In this case, a vertical wall of ice.
The ice run is something I'm really proud of. I remember being at the top, being really scared, but I was trying to tell myself, all right, once you fall, there's nothing in your line. So you're gonna go straight, and then the bottom of the run is very clean. So it's just about, you know, going for it. And yeah, first time I screwed up. I went there, I ran on the wrong spot, and yeah, I got ice surprise. Basically, when it's like this, you just go down. After the first crash, there was this amount of fear in myself, you know, because it's scary, you know, it's like entering a new dimension. And then, I don't know, the second time I really, you know, studied it on the, you know, after the first fall, I really studied the exact line, you know, the whole process to do it. And I knew it was super easy to do, and it was just about, you know, nailing it, concentrating. Well, after the second time, it was, you know, mission accomplished. It's like, wow, you know, realizing, wow, you know, it really works, it's really amazing. And I would love to do it again.
In true Daredevil style, Xavier is always looking to take things one step further, as our next clip shows. At the end of a long season filming his incredible runs, Xavier was high in the mountains looking for one last challenge.
You know, that phase looked really good. You know, if I compare it to the conditions the day before, you know, the snow was sticking, so I didn't think there would be ice. And when I got up there, I entered the line slowly and I saw there was ice, so I kept going on the ridge, went further down.
It's a bit more icy here.
I had a bad feeling in that moment, and you know, I could very easily have been going, oh, it's fine, like the snow is good, just drop in and go, and I would have gone down straight away.
I really feel like I should take it easy, because if I end up on something like the top, I'm just going down straight away.
As Xavier works his way to the top of an almost vertical wall, the snow cover unexpectedly slips away. To snowboard here would mean an uncontrollable and probably fatal fall hundreds of feet down.
And I saw a slight change of aspect on the snow, so I thought, that could be bad. So I went really slowly, and then suddenly, as soon as I touched that zone, it started sliding. I could barely stop myself, and you know, I basically stopped hanging on my ice axe. Yeah, I got just enough time to secure myself with the ice screw, and basically Samuel threw me a rope after and got me out of there. But yeah, really scary, you know. It's once again, you know, a warm-up run where nothing seems bad at all. Really easy to make that small mistake, and it was really, really close. It's like you're trying to snowboard down with a gun on your head, and somebody's holding it, and you don't know if they're gonna shoot or not. Those moments, they really bring you to reality, and life is long, life is too beautiful to just ruin it in a small moment like that.
Coming up, one intrepid adventurer reaches the point of no return.
One quick movement there with the kite and it's straight into the pier and it's over.
While another pits himself against a force of nature.
We looked at each other, and I told him, all right, from now, you run for your life and I run for mine. If anything happens, just keep going.
All on World's Greatest Daredevils. Welcome back to World's Greatest Daredevils. This next daredevil may have started out posting crazy videos on the internet, but he's managed to turn his stunts into a career, and perhaps even an art form.
My name is David Wallace, and I'm known for doing lots of crazy things on YouTube, really.
With over 40 million hits, this 29-year-old from Derby is an online phenomenon.
For me, personally, I try and make it as creative as possible. I mean, that's the kind of thing I like to put in my videos, and that keeps me interested, really. I just try and make it a little bit more, you know, just entertaining for me to do, and then hopefully if I find it entertaining, people might find it entertaining to watch.
He's now a professional stuntman, with credits on films like Hellboy 2 and the new James Bond. When Hollywood superstar Will Smith saw him on the internet, he hired Damien to teach his son acrobatics.
It's as dangerous as you want to make it. That's the thing, you know, it can be, you can jump from a wall to a wall. You know, that's fine enough, but as soon as you start going a bit higher on buildings, you're thinking, okay, well, I've got to jump from there to there. As far as danger goes, the only danger is more or less yourself, really. You know, if you think you can do it, and you're absolutely 100% that you know you can do it, then you should be able to do that. But obviously there's always going to be danger in there, you know, accidents happen, don't they? You know, you could slip, you could fall. I mean, no matter how much you train, accidents will happen.
Damien has even won the stunt equivalent of an Oscar. His stunts may look improvised, but as our next clip shows, it's all down to meticulous preparation. And even then, that's not always enough.
So the double front over the car is one of the dangerous ones as well. I mean, you've got to basically judge the speed of the car, you know, the angle of the bonnet, and basically get all this stuff right before even doing the double front over the car. So then once you've got all that, then basically you've got to take off, and you've got to have that much rotation that you can get the two somersaults in, but again, you've got to have the length as well so that you don't land on the back of the car. Yeah, doing all that and then trying to spot where you are as you're landing and all that sort of stuff. So I did it twice. The first time I winded myself, so I landed on my back, and then the second time I actually managed to make it around as I landed, both knees turned inwards, and then popped one of my knees on the left-hand side. Didn't want to do it again after that, funnily enough. It's the feeling that you get, you know, whether it's gymnastics or free running, or that uncertainty of, you know, can you do it, can't you do it? And then when you've achieved that, it feels so much better that you've actually achieved the goal that you've set out to do. That's one of the best feelings you can get, I think.
Amateurs sometimes attempt Damien's stunts. But it's not as easy as it looks. We've gathered some of the best camera phone craziness from across the globe. All our daredevils are united by the willingness to risk life and limb.
So the typical daredevil is likely to be more extrovert, have a desire for freedom, somebody that likes to push themselves to the extreme of their abilities. And they have a high desire for stress. They enjoy stress. It's a philosophy of life, really.
Next, we're off to the French Alps. The cameras are running, and the only way is down. It may look like an unplanned natural disaster, but the next clip in our countdown features a man who knows exactly what he's doing. 28-year-old Matthias Giraud, or Super Frenchie to friends and fans, has been on skis since before he could walk. And in recent years, he's combined his twin loves of skiing and base jumping in the even more extreme sport of ski basing. All captured on his own cameras, of course.
Am I crazy? I don't know. I've asked myself this a few times, honestly. You know, I mean, I'm not hurt, I'm not dead. I mean, I've got to be doing something right somewhere. So I guess, I mean, for you to decide. But in the meantime, if I'm crazy, well, I'm a happy, mad person. That's about it.
In 2009, he took on the ultimate ski-based challenge, tackling the previously unskiable Aiguille Croche near his home resort of Megève in the French Alps.
This is a face that people have been looking at for the last maybe 200 years. Everybody would look at it and at my home mountain and think, how would it be nice to ski of this thing, you know? And but you can't. It's a complete dead end. And a few guys tried a few years ago to ski it, and they had to be rescued by a helicopter because they were completely stuck. You know, as a skier, you have this idea of this perfect run that you wish or you hope you'll have someday. You know, you kind of know what you wanted the weather to be like, the temperature, the lights, the kind of snow. And the weather was perfect. And my friend Stéphane in Megève told me, hey, if you go do that, I want to fly over you with my speed flyer and get a view from above. And maybe I can film you. It could be cool. And I said, hey, why not? That sounds good. We worked our way up the slope and started climbing, and then we got above it, and he just looked absolutely beautiful. How are you feeling?
Feeling quite good. The wind's perfect, snow seems to be powder, so gotta go.
All right. So, yeah, there it is. Soak in the view, guys, because it's freaking epic. We're in paradise here.
Woo-hoo. This was the only spot in the Alps property that still had just untracked powder. The snow was untouched. And then it was time to start thinking about some, serious business. As you go through your gear, you're putting your skis on, you're double checking your harness, you're putting on your goggles, your helmet, turning on your cameras. And then we looked at each other, and I told him, all right, from now it's you run for your life and I run for mine. If anything happens, just keep going. You can't do anything for me, I can't do anything for you. So it's game on.
As his friend flew above him, filming him from a paraglider, Matthias prepared for his one-way trip towards the cliff edge.
Right over there, straight into the valley. And the chute, make a couple turns, up there, turn left, get on the ridge, point it, and then straight to heaven.
Being at the top of this peak is very intimidating. The first part of it is very steep, but it's also a face that is very prone to avalanches. So you have to be very careful the way you're going to ski it, the way you're going to approach it. I get in the zone, then you give a count. 3, 2, 1, dropping, and you're going. And from the moment you start counting, you're not stepping back. You're already over the edge.
To increase the challenge he faces, Matthias attempts to unleash an unpredictable and uncontrollable natural force.
I'm making some big turns to try to purge the face. Purging the face means getting that snow to fall down to maybe trigger something.
Matthias is purposefully attempting to start an avalanche so that he has no option but to keep speeding towards the precipice.
Reach the ridge that is on my left, and I ski down the ridge. And there it's pure joy. You're just making a few turns with the sun, and your friend is flying above you, and it's just pure happiness. you start to get to the beginning of the dome, you're skiing that dome, and you know at the end of that dome, it slowly slopes off to throw you into towards the ground of a 600-foot cliff. There's a lot of snow, and it's the perfect angle for an avalanche. I'm going about 60 miles per hour right there, or 50, so I know that nothing can really catch up with me, and I'm already going airborne. And I pull my parachute, I can see some slough coming off the cliff, and it's just beautiful, and I hear this little rumble behind me, and it's actually a very powerful yet muted sound. And when I turn around, I'm just facing Goliath that is just chasing me, and it's just this magnificent snowfall just coming off the face. You just know right there, you gotta keep looking, because it's something you're probably not gonna see again in the rest of your life. As I land, I just see my friend Stefan, and we're just filled with emotions and happiness, and you can't really describe it. You're holding each other, and in your arms, and giving each other high fives and screaming like little girls at the bottom, but it doesn't really matter at that point anymore.
You see that avalanche? It was so good. Oh, we just skied this! Oh my God! Oh man! See that ski well?
Oh, super balade.
I pitched and I was like so stable.
J'étais Attends, là, regarde.
Yeah! Angry Crush, here we go!
Yes.
Oh yeah!
I'm not an adrenaline junkie. I'm not a daredevil. I hate that, actually. What I'm seeking is the sense of accomplishment and achievement. When I'm at the bottom and I turn around and, all that, fear is pretty much gone, and you nailed it, that's what it's about. Live your life by your own standards. And then the sense of accomplishment that comes out of it, wow, I just did what makes me the most happy. And yeah, I'm gonna do it again and again and again and again and again.
Super Frenchie, that guy's cool. I want to go out on an expedition with him. He did such a beautiful job. The composure that he had to continue to video, and I just know how hard it is when you're doing something that intense to continue to get good footage. He was so aware of his footage. He was so aware of timing. He pulled it off so beautifully. But I worry about him, and it is because he's super talented, and he's pushing a sport that's very dangerous.
If anyone knows what makes a daredevil, it's veteran stunt flyer Troy Hartman. Troy is only 37, but has been performing aerial stunts for nearly 20 years.
I think daredevils come in so many different forms. There's such different personalities. There are individuals who have a death wish. They do. They admit it. The other side of the spectrum are guys like me, and I would be defined as a daredevil, yet my desires and my drives don't come from a place of trying to put myself in peril.
Troy may now take a careful and considered approach, but when a TV show asked him to perform a brand new and highly dangerous stunt, this career daredevil just couldn't resist the temptation.
When I was planning to do the plane-to-plane stunt without using a parachute, that was a huge mystery stunt. We had no idea, really, how we were going to go about it.
Troy's plan is to skydive out of one plane and into another. To make things even harder, the second plane has to be in a nosedive so that Troy can catch it. Take too long, and the plane has to pull up or crash. So he's risking both his and the pilot's lives.
And I give that solid push off. I go into a dive, head down, tuck my body up, and I'm screaming through the sky. I can feel the speed. And I know I'm going to catch the plane, but now my fear is I'm going to go right by it. I'm going to shoot right by it. I'm nervous. I don't want to put the pilot in peril by making him wait too long. So I attack the airplane. I just go full at it, and I attack it. I hit the airplane, slam into the door. and I almost bounce right off of the airplane, but I reach and I grab something. I use all of my strength, I climb back up, and then I see the pilot. It's like, that was the moment. I wasn't all the way in yet, but I knew we had completed it. I got to the airplane in that gray area, and I grabbed onto the airplane at the cutoff time. That's when the pilot should have been pulling out of the dive, and that's when I should have let go. But it was that split-second decision. I'm here. I have it. Give me 3 more seconds. It was close. We pushed it really close. Fortunately, it worked out, but we were right there. But oh, what a moment. What a moment to be sitting in that airplane knowing I was going to land. I'm not crazy. I'm actually not crazy at all. Most people who meet me, who have seen what I do, they say, oh, you're really normal. And that's not the case with all extreme athletes. I think a lot of these guys actually truly are crazy.
Coming up, we'll see daredevils risking arrest as well as death in pursuit of that ultimate adrenaline fix.
This is it. This is what I want to do. It's now or never.
Welcome back to our countdown of the world's greatest daredevils. White-knuckle footage of the most amazing and terrifying stunts out there. Coming up, we'll see daredevils taking their cameras into the clouds and under the water, and ask the obvious question, why?
We do it because we know that that present moment is just going to be so awesome.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Our next daredevil is a man who isn't afraid to break the rules in seeking that ultimate thrill.
What could possibly go wrong? 3, 2, 1, 0.
This is Dan Witchells. Dan's holiday videos aren't like most people's, but then Dan isn't like most people. Dan is a base jumper.
Staying alive, that makes a good base jumper.
Base stands for building, antenna, span, that's bridge to you or me, and earth. To become a base jumper, you have to have jumped from all of these. And Dan has travelled the world trying to find the most extreme things to throw himself off.
You can say what normal is. I wouldn't say jumping off buildings in the middle of the night is normal.
Dan was the base jump extreme world champion in 2011, judged on how close he was able to land to a target.
3, 2, 1, 0.
But he also takes a more improvised approach to his jumps, often alone, under cover of darkness, and filmed just for his own amusement.
Often I'll go and do a jump and no one will know. Not even the girlfriend, she won't even know that I've been out. She'll be asleep in bed, I'll get up, won't wake her up. Go and do a jump, come home, get back into bed, don't wake her up. She won't know.
Base jumping is one of the most dangerous sports out there. It's controversial, secretive, often illegal, and regularly fatal. But that doesn't stop Dan. In fact, quite the opposite.
It's very irresponsible. It is, and selfish.
Nice one, brother!
Most jumps like this one in East London are from around 500 feet, allowing just enough time for the chute to open. But next, Dan's going to jump from a dangerously low and very familiar location. In 2006, he decided to take on the iconic London landmark, Nelson's Column. Dan's jumping not from 500 feet, but just 150 feet, at night and without permission. But his main concern is with the police on the ground, and not whether his chute would actually open in time.
Okay. Ready for this? Yeah? Kiss me, Hardy. 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's do the off-speed.
Yeah, the police are just around the corner.
Okay. Well, look. First spur, right?
No, you shouldn't be doing that.
No, I know. Right, come on. Off we go.
This time, Dan escaped with his life and his liberty.
Can't really justify it. But I need something like this to keep me going.
Daredevils have been found to have less reuptake of this neurotransmitter called dopamine in their synapses. What that means is that as a result of a genetic disposition, they experience more dopamine than the average person. And as a result of experiencing more dopamine in their brains, they experience a greater sense of happiness, a buzz, a sense of well-being. And that's like a drug. And that's what keeps them coming back.
I think that's what we're really addicted to, is the fact that every time we sort of set a benchmark or set something higher than we did before, we feel compelled to go out and sort of break that again. We do it because we know that present moment is just going to be so awesome.
This may look relaxing, gracefully paddling on a river, but this is Rush Sturgis, professional kayaker. Rush is a man of firsts, including over 100 first descents of previously inaccessible waterfalls.
To be the first to do something is not really that important, I don't think. You're out there for the experience, you're not out there for the record books.
In pushing the limits of his sport, Rush has nearly drowned several times. He's even broken his back, but despite the obvious dangers, he still returns to the water.
Even during some of the most hectic moments of my life, everything just sort of gets shut off. You're not really even thinking anymore. You're just sort of moving with your instincts and pushing it to as high a level as you can. Your sole purpose is surviving and getting through it. For me, it's a feeling unlike anything I've ever found before.
In pursuit of this feeling, Rush has developed several cutting-edge moves with his kayak. His trademark is the unique and very dangerous Hail Mary. Fortunately for us, his camera is waterproof.
The Hail Mary is a trick that I invented, which is basically just a front flip off of a waterfall. It's a very difficult trick, and it takes a lot of commitment. Basically, you just kind of have to put it all on the line, and that's why I named it a Hail Mary. I'm approaching the lip. I rock my momentum to one side and sort of bring the bow of my boat down right at the lip of the waterfall, almost as close as I can possibly be to the lip, at which stage I tuck forward and pull the water and try to basically do a front flip maneuver off of the falls. I'd say 9 times out of 10 I pretty much crash. But it's totally worth it for that one time when you do get to stick it. I first completed the trip in 2005, and since then I haven't seen anyone else actually ever stick it.
Next, we travel to Norway to meet someone else who is pushing the limits of her sport. Ski basing is the daredevil offspring of skiing and base jumping. It takes at least 100 skydives before a jumper is ready to base jump, and then at least 100 base jumps before you can attempt a ski base jump. So it's a pretty select group. Karina Holokim was the first woman in the world to complete a ski base jump.
Well, for me, base jumping is about emotions, it's about feelings, it's about getting on that roller coaster of just pure happiness and fear, and it's kind of, you know that it's dangerous and you know that it can hurt you, but you still want more and more of it because it's such a good feeling. What fascinates me the most is just the visuals when you're jumping off of a cliff. It's so vivid and powerful at the same time, and it gives you so much energy to be out there.
In 2006, she became the first woman to attempt one of her sport's most risky maneuvers.
I was the only one who knew that I was going to do a front flip because I hadn't told the camera crew, I hadn't told my friend Seb, who was there with me. So I was the only one struggling with the thoughts that I had in my head.
Because of the additional weight of the skis, a ski-based front flip is much harder to control, and under or over rotation of the spin could easily be fatal.
And I stood there and I went through it all in my thoughts, you know, am I really gonna pull this one through? And I was like, yes, this is it. This is what I want to do. It's now or never. And I set off down the little ice field, and I remember the ice was like hitting my skis, and it wasn't really easy to be skiing down there. But I just put on full speed, all the speed that I could. I came down towards the edge, and I could see how far it was actually down. And I just popped it hard. And I laid out into the abyss, like a Superman. And I looked down for a second before I tucked the front flip around and opened the parachute. And it was a perfect jump. And I was like, yes, that was great. I couldn't get down fast enough because I was jumping. My friend Seb, he came to hug me and he's like, what, did you just do a front flip? You didn't say anything. And I sat there, I'm like, my first front flip ever. And I was so full of adrenaline and so like amped up that I could hardly speak. And both of my hands, they were just shivering like this from all the adrenaline. And it was such a great feeling of being able to complete it and perfectly like execute that jump, because I'd been dreading it and looking forward to it for so long. Some people would call me a daredevil, but a daredevil is not really the kind of word that I would describe myself with, because I feel like a daredevil, he's out there pushing it, but you know, it could go right or wrong. And a lot of people, they ask me, you know, if I'm cheating death. For me, death is not an option. I'm doing it because it makes me feel alive. I like to look at myself more as an adventurer than a daredevil.
Freestyle motocross champion Chris Birch is king of the heart attack, the Indian air, and the cliffhanger. But it's one thing getting the move right on the practice track. It's very different under the pressure of competition.
I mean, I got involved with FMX simply because it was just something that I like to do. Being in the air, being the freedom, whatever's on your mind, you're not thinking about that anymore. You focus on what you're doing, and it's kind of therapeutic in some way, or you know, just relaxing of the mind. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. Everyone's going to crash. You are going to end up in hospital at some point. You are going to break bones doing this sport. It's part of it. There's a lot of risks involved, but you know, we all know the risks as well. I must stress, like, you know, we do this for the love of it, and me personally, if I died riding my motorcycle, as long as it was quick, you know, at least I died happy.
That death or glory approach served Chris well at the 2010 Bolt Dog Championships. As long as he was able to reproduce his training track form, Chris would confirm his reputation as the UK's #1. After a closely fought competition, Chris has one jump left, but it will take an extraordinary stunt to clinch victory.
The backflip is a pretty gnarly trick. It's all in your head at the end of the day. I know if I went out and did one, I would, you know, more likely ride away from it, and it'll be clean and as smooth as it will ever be.
Get it wrong, and the rider risks landing on his back, head or neck. It could be fatal on a dirt track.
It's something that is definitely a head game sometimes.
As the competition reaches its climax, Chris has one last run.
With a backflip, like, once I've made my mind up that I'm going to do this, then there's no backing out. No matter what happens around me, it's just me and the ramp. And I'm going to pull when I need to pull and be 110% committed to it.
Chris has no margin for error. In 2009, a leading American rider died attempting a similar trick in competition. He executes the perfect backflip to be crowned #1. Our next clip also hangs on one critical moment, but that's after champion kite surfer Lewis Crathon had spent a year waiting for the perfect storm.
Every human being has an urge to fly and want to know the feeling of flying, and kitesurfing actually gives you that feeling. It is like you imagine. It's acceleration, it's impossible to describe really. It is flying for 6 or 7 seconds anyway.
In 2010, Lewis planned a jump that was a huge challenge, even for a 4-times UK champion. Lewis managed to capture his unrepeatable and unauthorised stunt on camera.
The appeal to jump Brighton Pier was certainly the fact that there was no laws, there was no do's or don'ts. In a way, there were no signs on the wall saying you can't kitesurf here, and that is a massive draw for me. I like that in-between grey area. It's awesome that you can smash down the walls of it with just a kitesurfing jump. Most people are under the impression that I trained to jump Brighton Pier for a year. In fact, I was already ready and able to jump well above the height to do it years ago. It's in fact the combination of the elements that you need in your favour: the wave height, the wave angle, the wind speed, the wind angle, the tide height. And even on the day, it wasn't perfect. I had to wait 2 hours for the wind to change slightly. The tide had actually moved further out than I wanted it to, so I had further height to jump.
If the wind or the wave strength change, Lewis risks serious injury or even death. He can't go under the pier because of the massive ironwork, while railings, buildings and flagpoles above it mean he needs a huge jump to clear it.
Once I'd moved closer to the pier, I was at a point of no return, really. I couldn't actually tack out past the pier. It's very much a case of being relaxed, no sudden movements. One quick movement there with the kite and it's straight into the pier and it's over. So it's very much about being patient and just hoping, where's this wave going to come? When's the wave going to come? And once I saw the big wave come up, it was an easy decision. I think most kiters would have seen that wave and thought, wow, I've got to go for that full speed. It was a dream wave, which really set up the jump.
Lewis needs to harness winds gusting up to 60 miles an hour to clear the 50-foot structure.
A lovely gust as I went over the pier, and it carried me further than most jumps I've ever done. I'm up there and I can hear the cheers of some of my team on the pier. I do remember a few split seconds where I looked over and just thought, wow, that is a view that nobody else can say they've had. It's actually when you touch down the other side in the water, that is the most exhilarating, amazing feeling you have, because it's definitely complete. All in all, it worked out perfect in the end. The jump itself was perfect.
Coming up in the final and most dramatic clip in our white knuckle countdown, what goes up must come down, one way or another, on World's Greatest Daredevils. So far, we've seen some incredible footage of people certain of their own success, no matter how terrifying the challenge in front of them. But our final clip features a man who meets with triumph and disaster and treats them just the same. And it's that courage that places him #1 in our countdown of the world's greatest daredevils. That, and the fact that he's planning on wearing a wingsuit, a specially designed outfit that allows base jumpers to fly in close proximity to the terrain, like a sort of human flying squirrel. 31-year-old Leo Holding is one of the greatest climbers this country has ever produced. He's a veteran of hundreds of terrifying ascents, including Everest, specializing in big wall climbing, sheer vertical rock faces, thousands of feet high.
I have always been quite a driven person. The more you accomplish, the more ludicrously ambitious the challenges become. I always set the bar very, very high, which means you tend to fail quite a lot. You don't fulfill your potential unless you fail. The greatest successes are the ones that come closest to failure, but you still succeed. When you snatch victory from the jaws of defeat.
If big wall free climbing weren't enough, Leo is also an experienced base jumper. At Riglos in Spain in 2009, having climbed a sheer 1,000-foot cliff, he was faced with a tough decision: a long, arduous climb back down, or a terrifying jump into thick cloud cover.
It's really scary because you're just jumping into the white. Oh man, this is scary. So when you're going to do something really scary like this, ironically, you need to be very relaxed, which isn't easy to do when you stood on the top of a 1,000-foot cliff in a cloud about to jump off it. I've achieved a lot of my dreams, so now the dreams are getting really ludicrous. But I'm driven by seeing the world and packing as much into the few days you have on this amazing planet as you possibly can.
Like a true pioneer, Leo is always looking for a greater challenge. And our final clip sees him following his dream to the ends of the earth. In 2009, Leo led a challenging expedition to Baffin Island in northern Canada. The plan was to climb the fearsome north face of Mount Asgard, deep inside the Arctic Circle and 50 miles from the nearest village. A 6,000-foot, 10-day climb up treacherous sheer walls. And then on top of that, the base jump from the summit. 9 days into their climb, the temperature plummets below zero. It seems like Leo and his team will have to turn back without achieving their dream.
It's cold, everything's covered in ice, and we're freezing. Realistically, it's looking like we might have to go down without getting to the top. We're kind of out of food, out of fuel. We've all invested a lot of time and effort to get this far, but there's only so far you can push.
I hate this cliff.
But then the weather gives them hope.
Basically, we have to go down tomorrow, whatever happens. So we either get to the top today and come down tomorrow, or we don't get to the top and we go down tomorrow. So this is it. Let's go for it. It's a relief to be up here. I mean, it's quite a nice feeling to be at the top. Me and Stanley are going to fly down, but the rest of the team have got to go down the wall and bring all the stuff down. It's been a real fight to get to here. I'm kind of exhausted.
For most people, this would be the end of the story. 10 days of climbing in Arctic conditions, many miles from the nearest sign of civilization. But not for Leo. "10 days up, less than a minute down, and #1 in our countdown of the world's greatest daredevils."
The Asgard project, man. We came to climb that wall right there and jump off it, and that's what we just did. That was amazing.
Truly amazing. And brand new next week, Daredevils and normal folk alike stare death in the face. Those moments when fate, fear, luck and judgment all roll into one. The world's scariest near misses is next Thursday at 9. Next tonight, a house on the edge and a Kokoza pushing his luck. Celebrity Big Brother in just a moment on Channel 5.